Hello, friends. Just another edition on the show that's called as the Talk Show, Tourism and Hospitality. Today's guest is an interesting guest because he's not only an expert in tourism and domestic tourism, especially, but as far as I've known him for years now, a fine gentleman, a real good person, soft-spoken person, and a very good heart he's got. Comes all the way out if required to help, to understand, and to give his part of his contribution. So today, person is Mr. Sachin A. Mehta. He runs his travel company in Borivali. He started his career, early days of his career in aviation company in India, in domestic sector. Then went on to become an entrepreneur, and now he's also equally involved with an international social organization which carries social work in COVID, in the flood situation in Kerala. He has contributed. Before we go ahead, sir, into other things, I would like to know, how did you get involved with this organization, and what pulls you to that, and what keeps you to this social work? Before we get into tourism, what is it?
Firstly, good evening, namaste to everyone. And I'm really glad and fortunate to know somebody like Sajan sir, who's always, keeps looking at new ways of contributing to his students, and he has so much of passion and love for teaching and students. So thank you, sir, for the phenomenal work that you do. So, for me, sir, it's like my background goes is, since childhood, I always wanted to, the call for helping others or working for my country was something very large. And I wanted to join army, and I was, for unfortunately or fortunately, I did not qualify MBA, NDA, and that's when I chose to shift my career from engineering background to tourism, and I went on to study tourism.
Okay.
And tourism, as we all know, is a huge contributor to economy, and it really makes a huge amount of difference. So that's something that we do, and luckily for me, I keep having friends and opportunities to work in social arena. Everybody wants to do good work, so it's not that it is limited to me or someone else or few people. Everybody really wants to contribute and do good work.
No, there should be a will, first of all, that the individual will to come forward and to do that. That's what I see in you. You
I know.
really come forward.
I know. Yeah, it's one life. Sometimes we think that पहले business कर लो, earn enough money, then you'll go and contribute and do social work. I think all areas of life are important, and if we can do it simultaneously, work, follow your passion, take care of your family, and then contribute to the society. It's wonderful. So little if you can keep doing, we keep doing that.
Right.
Of course, I have a lot of friends who've been involved in many projects. We keep doing some work or the other.
All right. So let's get on to business. Now we come to the sole idea of meeting today is to make students or the young tourism professionals of how to look from, or what to get from experienced people, what they can share, and that can be a torchlight. So how did you begin your career? I know you got into the airline industry, but I would like to know before that, and how did you finally, what are you doing today? Let's start from there.
Okay. So when I studied tourism, I love traveling. So one of the reason why I chose to study tourism is because we did not travel much. So earlier times, uh, you and I mean, we
Yeah,
know that our parents would travel only
yeah.
to native places or,
Shah
relatives, or religious travel would happen, and that would happen once in a year. And I wanted to travel, I wanted to explore India, and I was always fascinated and believed that India has so much potential to offer, and there's so much of richness and heritage. Uh, in fact, archaeology is what called me, you know, and I was thinking of studying archaeology post my NDA. Uh, I could not qualify. And I said tourism. My friend came up and he said, Ki Sachin, there's a tourism course and would you want to do it? And I said, let's do it. So we did 2 years, and then I worked as an intern with SOTC, doing handling outbound. Then I worked with a company called UVI Holidays, which was a major inbound travel company. That was also a very short stint. And post that, the open skies policy, which came up in 1991, 92, is when lot many private airlines came into India. And I joined the second private air taxi then, you know, and it was a wonderful time. I always had two things in mind: either to pursue a travel, start a travel company and take tourism in interiors, or get into an airline. So I enjoyed my journey in the aviation industry for a year or so. But then I gave up and I chose to start a tourism company with my friends. That
So what
aviation
has been
thing
the
is
challenges? What has been the challenges? Some working, you were in an airline, you started your career in an airline, you were there in 2, 3 years, you were steady, then you said, no, this is not what I want to do. I want to put up something on my own. So that time, I'm talking about of a rewind. At that time, you had any hiccups, or everything was, you were very sure, and I'm young, I can do it. Was it like that?
hiccups. Yes, they are always there. I mean, as long as life is there, in lifeline, it's going to be a graph. It's going to be up and down. But somehow I always loved challenges, and I never preferred a 9 to 5 mundane job or mundane work. So we loved it. Uh, Challenges, yes. I mean, we started organizing something novel back then into 1995, 96. Is we started organizing tours for educational tours for schools, colleges, and taking them on tours which would be relative to their curriculum, so their study is taken care of as an experiential tourism. So for us, it was all about creativity. Yes, challenges in the sense, if I look back from now, we had no Google, we had no cell phones, and we, even if we knew that there's X name of the hotel where I can take my group to in Manali or some other place, there was no resource of getting their phone numbers, because if some competitor or some other travel agency is taking tours to that place, they are not going to share the contact details. So for us to organize every tour, we used to travel to all these places, do a Reiki tour, go and research and visit. I must have visited at least 10,000 hotels all across India so far, and we've covered length and breadth of India. unfortunately, Northeast is something that
No, that's
we,
good.
yeah. So personally, I haven't gone there to do Reiki and all. But now, you get contacts of 100 different hotels and you can call. So there's a lot of system that is there and lot of ease of doing business. But yes, I mean, coming back to being the old school, uh, we really knew, which hotel had what caliber of service, the kind of staff, the kind of kitchen that they would have. If they had a vegetarian and non-vegetarian kitchen section separate. So we looked into lot of small details which may get overlooked now.
I would
Now it's
I would keep
yeah.
away a little bit of the educational tour which you specialize in. Uh, is it important to actually go and see the destination, find out which hotels is there, what is the land arrangement? Say if I'm a tour operator, I want to do something in Kerala, I want to operate a tour. I can sit at home, be in the net, be on the phone, contact the business to business operators and get it done. What is the difference that happens when you are actually on the site and you go and make a survey? What's the difference?
So sure, you can do it from here itself. So there's whole lot of system that is available. So there are various uh, hotels that you get on the net. You also get the reviews and everything.
Yes. Yes.
The only difference I see is, when you go there as a tour operator, especially as a travel agent, when you are committed to send, say 100 room nights every year, it doesn't matter. But as a tour operator, when you go, you know what kind of hotel it is. See, generally, what I've seen is these rating systems also are not very reliable. I won't say, completely inauthentic, but ratings can be done. Good ratings can be done. And other flip side of it is bad ratings. When we've seen that if there are 100 customers who are happy, they would not go and
Repeat.
rate you because they don't have time and energy and so one or two only of 100 people would go and rate you for your good services. But if there's one person who's not happy with any service, he would go out and give negative rating to you everywhere. So that's a very common human tendency that we come across in service industry. So people, if somebody is not got tea, he's ordered for tea and he's not got it for half an hour, and then he gets upset, and then he finds reasons to get upset about the towel or bed or tap or everything, and he would write a long review about or if he has some ego issue with some staff or this thing, it just happens.
So, talking about educational tours, um, what is the challenge in what is the core challenge in this, specifically for educational tours? When you're talking about students and their trips, what's the biggest challenge?
uh, the amount of work that is required for educational tour
Mm.
is, I would say, 10 times of what any ordinary tour requires.
Acha, acha,
Yeah. So let's say, if we have to organize a tour for adults, it's okay. I mean, you don't have to look into whether they've come on time, whether they are sleeping on time. When we are going for sightseeing, you don't really have to bother whether they are coming in queue with you or not. If somebody chooses not to come and see some place, you're okay about it. With educational tours, we have to, get into, so even if we have to serve them tea, we have to have a proper specific place, the hygiene, the safety, uh, you know, when you go for sightseeing, you have to take them in a queue, in one uh, line, count them 10 times. So in a day, if you say the teachers and tour managers would count them at least 15 to 20 times, we would take head counts. And educational tour is not the only work that we do. We are more into experiential tour now.
Yeah,
We are
I will come to
also,
that. I will come to
yeah,
that.
yeah.
Yeah, I'll come to that. I know that I've kept it. But yeah, before, because I want to go by the second time when we meet again is experiential tours and guidance and counseling. So after listening to the product, I want them to understand what the product is and how can you conduct it. So these questions are more specifically to entrepreneur. So that is where we are focusing on. I'm sorry. Is price a
Sure,
main
sure.
factor for education? Education too is price. How do you manage the competitors?
Uh, Price is the most, the most important factor in tourism, at least in India.
India.
And unfortunately, tourism is not a quantifiable this thing. So, if I have to quote for a tour to Himachal Pradesh or Goa or, or any international, to Dubai or Singapore or, Europe, people check, people have four different quotations, and they would check prices. But as we know that, it price is not the only thing. So if I am choosing a three-star hotel
Service.
and I'm choosing somebody else is choosing a two-star or a four-star, then the price would be different. If I'm choosing a hotel within the city or in some good location in the city, the prices would be higher. But if I can have a better hotel, or instead of a three-star, I would have a four-star hotel. If I have to drive, if you have to drive, go bit in outskirts and all. Uh, at the same time, service is the most important factor. So for us, uh, because we've gone through, because we know the hotels, we have visited hotels, we have worked with, at least 8,000 different hotels all across the world. We know what is the level of service we can expect. No, and in tours, what happens is, if I'm saying that okay, I'll take you to a hotel. So if I quote, let's say you'll have an itinerary and you'll stay in a hotel, you'll have AP meal plan. But what is included in AP also matters. So a breakfast could be simple idli vada, tea, coffee, and it could be a seven course spread.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Conflict.
So cornflakes, milk, and bread preserves and fruits
Correct.
and juices and North and South Indian dishes
Correct.
and a lot of stuff. So for us, what happens is, if you want to do quality work and that somebody else is quoting lower price because he knows how to get. I mean, it's every person's individual way of doing business. For us, what matters is, I mean, I being a father now, having 20-year-old daughter, I choose to give only, we choose only what we would give to our own children. So if I won't feed my daughter McDonald's burger three times in one tour, I will not, serve that to students, is because they would like it definitely, and it would allow me to save my money, because a McDonald's meal would cost us less than 100 rupees. And if you have to take lunch or dinner in any three-star hotel also, would cost us 350 rupees plus. So for us, we could save that kind of a price. Children these days, they would be happy to have a pizza or a burger or, a simple pasta and all. But we've seen that, Indian children, they get constipated and they have health issues during the tour. So we choose not to do that. So which is why our tours are become expensive, is because our quality and, the product is far more richer and better than anybody else. But price point may plays a big role. So people really don't understand. Many people don't understand that it's huge amount of quality difference that happens.
So now we get on to what you were saying. What is experiential tourism? What is it? What kind of, is it something different? Is it something new? What is it all about? And why are you interested in so much in it?
Okay. So before I move on to, in your introduction, you mentioned, and I would also say, along with the social work that I do, I am also expert with United Nations
Yes.
uh, and UNCFAC. So United Nations has a special segment called UNCFAC, which is into creating standards, systems, and processes to with an objective to standardize, harmonize, and simplify business processes and electronic business across the world. So we are creating experiential tourism system also, but I'll say it's not too much of it's no I say experiential tourism is not a rocket science. It is a tourism, but it's beyond the conventional tourism that happens. So if I can say that, when we take people, and it's not limited to students, we now do mice and, all adult tours or thematic tours also. So let's say people are interested in wildlife, and generally people who would go for wildlife tour would go to one place and you know uh, uh, wildlife and just do a wildlife sightseeing. Rather than that, we also have a we have a wildlife biologist who's going along on the tour. He has spent 20, 15, 30, 40 years in wildlife. He knows every animal well, and he knows everything, every detail about this place. So which is why this tourism happens on a very different level. It's an experience, so it's not only limited to wildlife. Experiential tour could be for cuisine, it could be for nature, it could be for for adventure, basic rural tour also, going to a village, staying with a villager, eating their food, uh, knowing their activities, doing farming with them, you know, moving around in a belgadi. It could be that also.
So I put the question the other way around, but I want to ask that if you're making an ordinary itinerary and you're making an experiential itinerary as such, what do you keep in mind when you're making the special itinerary? What is it you said this requires in this should be there in the itinerary? Anything specific?
So our itinerary goes. So it's reverse. It is based on, what are the client that we are dealing with,
Ah,
what are their interests. So our work starts
from there.
with the objective of the client. So what is the purpose of their travel and what is the experience that they want to have, and based on that we start designing our tour. So it's not like we have a we do have these tours also, which are fixed itinerary and we are offering it to people. But mostly what we do is, when it's group of people, we want to know what is the objective that they have, and then we design a very customized itinerary based on that. So we have both. We have fixed
package?
itineraries, which are, with fixed package with clear cut experiences that will be there, and we do customized also.
So I believe this group will be not more than 12 or 15. I mean, the smaller the group, the better to get the experiential tourism better in a better way. Am I right? Or can you have a larger number of
Yeah,
people?
experiential tours would be right from groups of 10 to, I would say, because we've handled large number of groups and we are very, our capacity to handle large groups is quite high. We can do it up to 50, 60 people's groups also. Educational tours, of course, we've handled group size of 450 in one go. So, so we
Okay. Now we move on to our audience. In the audience, there are quite a few young, the more aspiring travel professionals. So we will be showing this videos too. Two questions from their end. One, what do you expect as from the industry? What do you expect from young talent? That is one question. And second question is, yeah, let's have the first question. What do you expect as a recruiter? What do you want? What are you looking for?
I would say it only it's what defines your success would be one is your passion and second is your vision from which we work. Uh, Fortunately for the current millennials and current young generation is that they are blessed with a lot of comforts that they have. So mostly what we've seen is their their outlook is more towards what is it that I'm going to get for which what I have to give,
Yeah.
and which is great in many industries because it's that way that I get x package and then this is my uh, these are the things that I have to do, and uh,
Right.
key responsibilities and the results that they need to get is very clear and defined. Tourism industry for such is not not completely. It's much better than what it was uh, 25 years back, but it's not within a box. You have to keep expanding yourself. Tourism is all about keep expanding yourself, knowing more, getting in more innovation, researching, getting into more details. So the focus, if I say that the fundamental difference between any other industry and tourism industry should be is the focus has to be on the others. It can't be on yourself because we are in service industry. So if your focus is on what you can give best, uh, for sure there would be success.
So this is a second last question. The second last question is my personal inquisitiveness. You have handled a good young crowd for a long time, college crowd and things like that. If you take them to Ajanta, I just want to know. I'm very curious about it. Are they?
Yeah.
Do they get really fascinated by this is the way we are and this is something to be proud of, or is it just a picnic spot for them? 100 जन को लेके गए, आधा घंटे घूमे और ना देखा ना सुना कुछ आ गए. How do people react to it, sir? The young India.
Okay. So thank you for bringing up this question, sir. For two reasons. One is, you know, there's a very important thing that we miss as Indians is our education or our sense of self-esteem or the belonging about Indian heritage and culture. So unfortunately, I've seen most Indian young people, which could be also like now people who are in mid 30s also know more about places like Europe and America, but they don't know about India.
Oh, sad.
And
Sad.
and they talk about places which are 200 years old in America, and there's so much of
1,000 years, yeah.
yeah, so much of story built around it, and we have monuments which are out of the world, and
Yeah.
they are completely, we really are not aware about them. So one responsibility that we have, and I would invite all students and everybody who's watching this, is we belong to a great culture and great nation, and we have a history which is now there are carbon dated uh, artifacts which substantiate that we are more than 25,000-year old civilization, and we are very rich. The culture that we have, the monuments that we hold is is really great. So I it's it's time that we start looking at them. Now, coming back to your question, sir, students are interested, but it's our duty also to create that magic for them. When when you just go to I would say Ajanta and Ellora also include that, is because such mind-blowing places, if you have a real good guide who's
Right.
taking along and who's explaining them and engaging them in their world, it's an amazing experience. So it's both ways, that it is our responsibility also to bring up that wow factor for them in a way that they can connect.
Sir, we are completely running out of time, but one question remains. I give you 1 minute. What would you tell a
Yeah.
young entrepreneur who's studying in college, finished his bachelor's, finished his master's, to work for 2 3 years in industry? He wants to be an entrepreneur. किस पर ध्यान देना है, किस पर फोकस रखना है? आपको आपके पास 1 ही मिनट है, because we need to wind up also. So which are areas you would say?
दो चीज, the world has changed on technology, so if you can be a very good person with
Thank
technology, you do that. Or the other segment is become an entrepreneur, create experiences, and offer experiential tours.
But why do you say experiential tour is the future? Why do you say that?
Because it is the future.
I like that.
uh, for two reasons. One is because we have too much of comfort, one,
Mm.
and we are getting away from the social life and the nature connect and all. We've seen now in this lockdown, people have known that life is different from going to malls or buying major brands, and just that it's more about connecting to yourself and connecting to places. And millennials are the ones who are the young generation now are really seeking for experiences which are authentic in nature, which have more soul. So I would say quality and soul is what matters to everyone, and that is the future, sir.
The talk show, this edition stops here. We thank Mr. Sachin Mehta, a good friend of mine also, to be very honest. It was wonderful talking to you, sir. I will come back to you someday, and we'll have a webinar, live webinar. And if students want to interact with you after knowing you through this video, they want to interact with you, they have questions, I'll invite you on the panel, and we will be able to speak directly to the industry who wants to know what about entrepreneurship or domestic tourism is concerned. Thank you so much for being there.
Thank you so much. Thank you, sir. All the best to everyone. Thank you.
Be connected with us. Like, share, and subscribe. You can also follow us on